Did my sneeze get picked up at the beginning? If you folks missed it, the other day, 2 days ago, in Pokemon Go, I got my very first ever 100% IV from a raid. I have plenty of hundos in my game, but after all these years, I have never gotten a single 100% IV hundo from a raid ever. I have done hundreds, maybe thousands of raids. 1 second. I have done maybe thousands of raids. I know I could have checked before this. And not a single one was 100%. Not a single one was a hundo. I've gotten 98 IVs, you know, but never one that was fully 100%. Until 2 days ago, I got my very first ever hundo in Pokemon Go that came from a raid. My very first hundo ever from a raid was a Honedge. At long last, 9 years of playing Pokemon Go. I played since day one. I may not have raided when it first got introduced, and there may have been a period that I stopped playing Pokemon Go, but still. Ever since day one of playing, not a single hundo from a raid until 2 days ago. You know, after all these years of anticipating when I will inevitably get a hundo from a raid, I was really hoping that it would be a legendary. Any legendary. Even if it was a legendary that sucked. Really hoping my first hundo from a raid would have been a legendary. But you know what? Honedge is pretty cool. I love swords. I love Honedge and Doublade, especially the shiny. Aegislash shiny, not so much. And we have been waiting how long for Honedge in Pokemon Go? So you know what? Honedge being my very first ever hundo from a raid, I feel like it's kind of fitting. And not only that for Pokemon Go. Today in Pokemon Go, I caught a shiny Pokemon. Do you want to know what shiny Pokemon I caught, Batman? I caught a Lopunny, Batman. I caught a Lopunny. You already know what I'm gonna do to that thing, Batman. There's no laws against the Pokemon. I'm not kidding you guys. Earlier today, I got a shiny Lopunny. You know, I feel like in Pokemon Go, it should not just be the Pokemon that can Mega Evolve. You can find wild. Well, you can find wild in the shiny. You know what I tried to say there. Only evolved Pokemon that can Mega Evolve can be caught shiny in the wild. So, Venusaur, Charizard, Blastoise, Lopunny, Gardevoir, Gengar, only those have the chance to be shiny in the wild. So, something like a wild Talonflame, a wild, I don't know, wild Empoleon. Those cannot be shiny, which I think is rather stupid. I feel like it should be, for the most part, like the mainline games where anything and everything you encounter should be shiny, or should be shiny, could be shiny, until, you know, they started shiny locking, but that's besides the point. So I feel like everything that spawns in the wild should be shiny, or should be shiny eligible. And you know what? Speaking of megas, it's actually been so long since the last time I did one of these. The Pokemon Direct came and gone, and we got introduced to Mega Dragonite. People are back and forth if they like it or not. People saying that the design is lackluster. I feel like it's kind of like Kangaskhan's Mega, where majority doesn't change. I mean, after all these years, all the potential Mega Dragonite had, and this is what we get? Just a couple of wings on its head and an orb on its tail to resemble Dragonair? It's a little lackluster. It's a little bit underwhelming. Especially all the fan art online throughout the decade, showing just how awesome a Mega Dragonite could have been. And we get this. Oh well, it is what it is. Well, wait till the Pokemon fandom is disappointed by Mega Flygon's design. If we ever get one, because I don't think we're getting one, as disappointing as that is. Because, the leaks are suggesting we are not getting one. So anyways, folks, back to our... we are temporarily back to our regularly scheduled program. I know my schedule has been hot ass these days, the past little while. My schedule has been all over the place. And that's because, one, I got a brand new job and my schedule is still revolving around that. Two, my cousin and uncle came over to visit. So I haven't had time to do anything here because I've been with them. So I say we are temporarily back on track. That's because earlier today, my cousin and uncle, they actually left for another trip. A trip within a trip, a sub-trip. So this morning, my cousin and uncle, they went on to like a tour bus trip. Just the two of them. I could have potentially gone with them, but then I got this job, so I couldn't. Oh no. Anyways. So they're gone for like 5 days. So that's why temporarily we're back doing this. It also means that temporarily I got my bedroom back. I got my bathroom back. And also I got some peace and quiet back. Cause let me tell you, my little cuz, he is annoying. Very much so. He's definitely much more tolerable now. I tell you, turns out the last time he visited us here in Canada was 2019. That was like 6 years ago. So that meant he was 6 years younger back then. We all know how small children are. They're very energetic, very needy. And back then, when he was 6 years younger, ooh, I tell you, he was hands down the most annoying child I have ever encountered in my life. Easily. He was such a handful. And I wasn't even his parent. I wasn't even the person responsible of taking care of him and raising him. Imagine what being like his parents are. So now that he's older and visiting, you know, he has absolutely matured, but he's still a kid nonetheless. He's needy, he's clingy, he is so annoying and energetic, and he's also greedy as well. Because they came all the way here to Canada to visit us, across the frickin' planet, well, we're going to have them, we're going to take them to special places, just to make some memories, you know? The other night, my family and I, with them, we went to the CN Tower for dinner in Toronto. And, oh my goodness, that boy can eat. That scrawny-ass kid can eat. Which is good. It's good, because, you know, he's still growing. And kids growing need to eat. But, like, he kept on going everywhere. He just kept on talking. Kept on grabbing food. And the greedy, grubby little boy that he is. I don't know where he got such a refined palate. Because the one thing that he wanted more than anything when we were at the tower was Caviar. And he was ready to down the whole tin can himself. You know, Caviar is expensive, and the portions are small. He was ready to down the whole can his damn self, and not share any with us. The same thing goes for the other night when we made some black truffle dishes. Like little hors d'oeuvres, little bite-sized food. Little bite-sized food with a dollop of black truffle on top. He was ready to down all of it himself. Not even sharing any with the rest of us. It wasn't until damn near all of us had to speak up, be sure to share. This isn't just for you, it's for all of us. And he's just like, okay. Well, that's my little cousin for you. That's my little cuz. The greedy little Chinese boy that he is. And before you say, that's offensive, I'm something of a Chinese guy myself. I may not sound like it, and to that I say, good. Good. I don't want to sound like those fob-ass cheapskates. Good. I don't want to sound like them. But yeah, my little cuz is absolutely flexing his, the Chinese blood in his veins. My mom has a theory that it's because of the way he's being raised, because his parents are separated. So, remember what Richard said, there's only one way to guarantee your children's affection. You buy it! So they treat him to all this fancy stuff, caviar and black truffle, refining his palate so that, he loves his parent more than the other. My mom has that theory. Keep on showering him with expensive goodies so that he would choose that particular parent over the other. And you know what? Hanging out with my little cuz this past... Has it even been a week since they arrived? Maybe not. Actually, no, it hasn't. No, it hasn't. They came here Wednesday night. And today's Monday, so it hasn't even been a week since they've been here. Anyways, yeah, hanging out with my little cuz for this past not even week has really made me reconsider. Do I really want children one day? I mean, of course I do. Hypothetically, if that ever happens. I would like to have children one day. I would like to be a father one day. But then again, I have to think about that. Really think about that. Like, oh my god. Me, right now, I'm stuck with this little brat for, 2 weeks. And I can't wait for it to be over. If I'm a father, I gotta be stuck with a bratty little child permanently. Until that kid grows up and matures into adulthood, I'm stuck with a very immature, childish dumbass. Let's face it. We know how stupid kids are. And I know myself, because I was a very, very, very stupid child. I'm still a very, very, very stupid person. And if one day I have to raise a kid that behaves anywhere close to how he behaves, oh my goodness. Even myself right now, I'm holding myself back from... I don't want to say yell at him, but really show that I'm frustrated. Please, sit down and calm down. I beg you, please. Can you please just sit still and do something? You are running around the house all the time. You are bothering all of us. Please, calm down. I beg you. But I have to hold myself back. I can't do that. Oh, I'm only dealing with him for 2 weeks. Imagine being his dad. I have to deal with him 24/7. We have to remember, it's only temporary. It's only temporary. He's gonna grow up. He's gonna be mature one day. He's gonna be an adult. And he's gonna act... Unbelievably that I'm saying this, he's gonna act like the rest of us. Yeah, I dread one day being a parent and being a parent of a kid this age. And also, he is very much infected with today's day and age of how kids act from the internet. I kid you not, he literally, unironically, emotes all the time. He does that one dance, I don't know what it's called. It's not the floss, it's the other one that Fortnite made popular. And I kid you not, Gangnam Styles randomly from time to time. I even told him, like, why are you Gangnam Styling? Isn't there a more current emote you could be doing? And not only that, he collects certain products that certain influencers online sell. Like, he collects Prime bottles. Not all of them. He collects the, the fancy ones, the collectible ones, the ones that are hard to find. If he sees it, that is. And the other day, he asked me, like, where are the Wait, what was it called again? The Joy Rides? What were they called again? Ryan Trahan's candy. What was that called again? The Joy... I keep... Every time I hear that, I think Jetpack Joyride. Is that the candy Joyride? It is Joyride. Yeah. Yeah, the other day he asked me, where's the Joyride? We don't get that in Hong Kong. I'm just like, you really are looking for Joyride? You even know what that is? Alright. And, of course, he doom scrolls all the time. We passed by a Costco last night, and he's just like, Costco, guys! He tried talking about this stuff to my sister, and my sister has no idea what he means. I even told him, don't waste your time talking to her. She doesn't understand anything you're saying. Costco, guys, Joyride, emotes. She doesn't know a damn thing about what you're saying. What's sad is I do. I do, but... that's not the generation I grew up in. Thank God for that. So he does doom scroll all the time. And the sad part is doom scrolling. I don't even really do that. I do it occasionally on Instagram. Not even Instagram Reels, just the Instagram homepage. My mom and sister, though, oh yeah, they doom scroll on WeChat Shorts or whatever the hell it's called. I'm thankful that I'm relatively free of brain rot. Hell, if my attention span was destroyed, you wouldn't see me shiny hunting now, would you? Oh, fun little tidbit. The other night when we went to the goddamn CN Tower, because my dad is friends with one of the chefs there, that chef brings us food all the time because, he works there as a chef, so there's leftover food all the time. So he just takes it home. Otherwise it goes to waste. And let's face it, you eat the same thing every day for decades, you get sick of it. So occasionally he'll bring us food from the fancy restaurant he works at, steaks, salmon, duck breast, lamb chops. Because let's face it, he cooks that every day. If there's leftovers that didn't sell, he'll just take it home to eat himself. Eating that every day may sound luxurious, but you'll get sick of it you'll get sick of it eventually. So that's just a nice gesture. He occasionally bops by and just gives it to us. So yeah, every now and then, my dad's friend who works at the tower, he'll just bring us food. Steaks, lamb, duck breast, salmon, the fancy stuff. He doesn't bring us caviar, but, I would not even ask him to do that. Anyways, that's besides the point. So, yeah, my dad is friends with one of the chefs there, and also my dad used to work there at one point. So it's because of this. I don't think him working there really affects it. But whatever. Because of that, because we know the person there, not only does he bring us food, he shows up all the damn time to hang out with my dad. So there's that as well. So it's not like he pops up for a cameo every now and then. Oh no, this guy shows up all the time. So it's because of this, because we have connections. When we were up there eating, he just kept on bringing us food after food, dish after dish, so much to the point we just couldn't eat all of it. Even with all of us there. There was 7 of us there. So the 4 of us, my uncle and cousin and my sister's husband, so the 7 of us. We just kept on eating and eating. He just kept on bringing us more and more. We were stuffed. And the thing is, too, the bill. How much did it cost us? If you were an average person, an average Joe, the amount of food that we received, I would expect the bill to be no less than $2,000. So the amount of food that we got, I would imagine bare minimum would cost you about $2,000. How much did we end up paying, however? Not even $1,000. I think it was like $900, which is still a lot, but you have to remember, this is some high-class, fancy, gourmet shit that we were dining on. Where, you know, a steak dinner there costs you like $90 alone. Never mind the sides, the appetizers, the drinks. $15 for a non-alcoholic beverage. Which is what I got, because, you know, I don't drink. But anyways, yeah. The amount of food we got, I imagine, if you were a regular person paying for all of that, you would spend minimum $2,000. Us, though, we spent like $900, I think. I can't remember if that was before or after tip. I think it was before. So even if it was before the tip, we paid like $1,000 with the tip, after tip. Which, hey, that's pretty good. You know, it wasn't until I started looking at the menu, thinking about what to order, I thought, what do I order? Normally, I order the steak, but then I started thinking, wait a second, this guy, he brings us steak, lamb, salmon, duck, all the time. I eat this restaurant's food all the time without paying. So now it's like, what do I order? Why would I order the same thing, but this time I gotta pay? So I tried to look for something different. Something that, you know, he doesn't normally bring over. I sure as hell wasn't ordering chicken, let's be honest. I'm not gonna go all the way up to that fancy restaurant to order chicken. Let's face it, I ain't doing that. I don't know if I was feeling lobster. I don't know, it didn't hit me until I was starting to look over the menu and ready to order. I was thinking, wait a second, I get free food from this place all the time. The best of the best. So, am I about to order it? And pay for it? That doesn't make a lot of sense. Let me order something different that he doesn't usually bring over. Well, like I said, there was a handful of options. There was chicken, lobster, like codfish. But I wasn't really feeling any of those. Ultimately, I still ordered the prime rib. Because he suggested, and he recommended, and I'm just like, all right. If I don't take your recommendation, I'm going to sit here for half an hour debating what to order. Let's just get it nice and simple. Go ahead, place the order in. And then, so we did that the other night. And then, last night, when I could have done this, but clearly I didn't. Last night, we went out to go to the movie theater. My uncle, my cousin, and my dad, and yours truly, moi self, My mom and sister didn't go. They don't usually like going to the theater unless it's a BTS film. Otherwise, if that's the case, my sister buys a ticket the instant it goes on sale. But yeah, my mom doesn't really like going to the theater. So last night, the four of us, we ended up watching The Fantastic Four: First Steps. I'm not going to talk about the film here right now. I'll talk about it later on, because we still have other things to talk about, as well as the fact that before I talk about Fantastic Four, I have a certain other Marvel movie with an asterisk in the title to talk about as well. So I'm not going to talk about Fantastic Four: First Steps today. I'll talk about it another time. Just a quick little something for me to mention about the film. It's a lot better than I expected. For months you've been hearing me shit on the film because I was not excited to watch the film whatsoever. I wanted to watch Superman instead, which I still haven't seen yet. It's hard to find time. Especially with those two visiting, and especially with the new job, it's hard to find time. I wanted to watch Superman instead. I wasn't really excited to watch Fantastic Four one bit. But then I watched it, and turns out it's pretty good. So I'll praise it where it deserves praise when I actually talk about the film another time. You know, yesterday night when we went to the theater to watch Fantastic Four, so there were there was the theater that we normally go to. 3 adults and 1 child. That would have cost us like over $100. Watching movies is expensive these days. And then I offered an alternative. See, my friends introduced me to this theater. There's another theater in the opposite direction. Maybe the same driving time. Their prices are much cheaper. And I kid you not, going to this theater, the price was literally in half. The regular theater we go to, over $100 for 4 tickets, one of them being a child. The theater we ended up going to yesterday, $55. 4 tickets. 1 is a child. And also the seats, you can recline. So I think it was a pretty slam dunk deal right there. We sat in the very back, and I mean the very, very back. There were no seats behind us. So, given the fact that my cousin and I are not very tall, we kind of had to sit up straight in order to see over the chair in front of us to watch the film. You know, while watching that, while sitting there last night, you know how movie theaters are. They like to show some trailers before the screening. So last night we actually saw the trailer for Avatar: Fire and Ash. And I thought it was actually kind of interesting because this morning when I woke up, I saw the trailer was posted online. So I technically saw the trailer a day before it came out online. I know that's not the biggest deal. Theaters do that normally, where theaters get to show the trailers before it comes out online. Yeah, I know that's not that big a deal, but still cool to me. And also there was this other film trailer I saw that actually looks pretty interesting. It was the movie for Project Hail Mary. I don't know, that actually looks pretty interesting. Visually, looks pretty cool. Conceptually, sounds pretty cool. And of course it stars him, Ryan Gosling. When he first showed up in the trailer with his long hair and big beard, I didn't even recognize him. And then when I saw that Ryan Gosling stars in the movie, I still didn't recognize him. Supposedly it's based off of a book. I never heard of the book before. We all know I don't read. Ugh. Oh, you know what that burp just now reminded me of? I ate okra for dinner tonight. I fucking hate okra. I don't particularly like the taste, but it's the texture. The fucking texture. Slimy, moist, disgusting. I absolutely hate okra. But of course, okra, being as nasty as it is, of course it's super healthy for you. We just couldn't live in a world where good tasting things are healthy for us. But the things that are bad tasting and have a bad texture, of course that's the best for us, you know? We just couldn't live in a world where fried chicken is super healthy for us. You want to hear some bullshit that happened this morning? So, as I mentioned, earlier this morning, my uncle and cousin, they left to go take a sub-trip. A trip within a trip, so they went to go board a tour bus. And I think they went to Montreal. Toronto to Montreal. But someone had to wake up early to drive them to the bus meetup. They were actually being picked up at a Tim Hortons. You know, a Tim Patel's, a Singh Hortons. We all know how Tim Hortons has destroyed their brand these days. But yeah, someone had to wake up early and drive them. The bus was showing up at 7:30 in the morning. So bare minimum, someone had to start driving them at like 7 in the morning. My dad was going to do it, of course. But, you know, I volunteered. I can drive them tomorrow morning. Because I asked my dad, do you have an early morning appointment? He said yes. So I was like, you know what? Dad, how about you get some rest? Because you need to work. I can drive them. I can wake up early, I can drive them. And let me tell you, none of my family members had any faith I could. They non-stop were like, do you know how to get there? Do you know the way? Do you need someone to go with you? It's okay, son, you don't need to go. I can drive them. I know the way there. I'm just like, people, it's one straight road down, and I make one turn. I know how to get there. GPS exists for a reason. So, yeah. My dad needed to work early this morning, so I volunteered, because I didn't want my dad to be sleepy when he was doing his early morning appointment. So I volunteered. I volunteered to be the one to drive them, because I could then sleep in. Remember, today I don't have work at the new job. So today would have been at the family store. I kind of thought that my dad would go do his morning appointment. My mom and sister would open the store. Well, they're covered. I can sleep in because I had to drive them. That was kind of the plan. Now, let me ask you guys something. Turns out, my sister took today off. So why didn't she drive them this morning? Think about it. Think about that for a second. Had my sister driven them in the morning, early in the morning, she could have slept in because she didn't. She didn't. I can't say she didn't have to go to work. She took today off abruptly. So why didn't she wake up early, drive them, sleep in, Because if she did that, I would not have had to sleep in, and I could have made it out on time with Mom. And from what I saw when I got to work, it was a pretty busy morning, and my mom had to handle it by herself. Don't you think it would have made more sense for my sister to drive them? Because she took today off. See, the reason I drove them is because my dad, he had an early morning appointment. I mean, for God's sake, I at least was willing to volunteer to drive them in order to give my dad some more sleep. Her? Oh, hell no, that's out of the question. No fucking chance. And the thing is, not only did she tell me last minute that she wasn't working today, she also told my mom. She told my mom, so my parents were leaving for work today. She came in, well, expecting my sister to be late as always. And she was just like, let your brother sleep in. Because, you know, he drove your uncle and cousin early this morning. And that's when my sister told my mom, oh, by the way, I'm not working today. It's like, okay. I tell you guys, my sister's behavior is out of control. She is absolutely out of control these days. Like I said before, she takes multiple days off a week. She takes days off on a whim, just like that. She can tell my mom just before the day. Wow, she can tell my mom just before the day starts. By the way, I'm not working today. And I'm the one who needs a job search. No, that's crazy right there. That don't make no sense right there. She can take multiple days off in a week. She can take the day off on a whim just like that. No warning, no anything. And I'm the one who needs to go out and find a job. No, that's crazy. You know, when my uncle and cousin first came here to visit last Wednesday night. Alright, so let me break it down for you guys. I had work Thursday morning. I work at 10:30. And to make sure I'm not late for work, I wake up at 8 in the morning to give myself more than enough time to get ready. So the next morning, I had to wake up at 8 in the morning. My uncle and cousin, they were landing at like 10 p.m. Which we all know, landing at an airport, you need time to get off the plane, find your baggage, find your people, and leave. More than likely, the plane does not land on schedule. More than likely, the plane lands behind schedule. So we were picking them up around like 10 p.m. Let's face it, we weren't getting home until like midnight. And to make things worse, there was traffic on the highway. So yes, we did not get home until decently past midnight. Uncle and little cuz were here. They still had to unpack. Everything gets settled in, so there's a lot of noise. I had to wake up at 8 in the morning the next morning. And so I told my sister, oh, by the way, don't forget, those two took over my bedroom, my bathroom. So I need to share a room with my sister. I need to share a room and a bathroom with my sister. I sleep on my sister's floor. Of course, there's a mattress I sleep on the floor, but I sleep on the floor nonetheless. So I need to share a room with my smelly ass sister. And I told her, sister, they took over my room. They took my bathroom. You and your husband have a furnished condo apartment. You need to move out I have to work in the morning. I need to wake up at 8 in the morning to work. You need to move out. Even if it's just for this small period that they're here visiting us, you need to move out because I need to sleep and I need to wake up early in the morning to go to work. You know what her response was? Her response was, how's that my problem? How's that my problem? You know, she's just the one who pushed so hard for me to get out and find a job. Let's face it, it's because of her that I found a job. Normally, you would think that's a more thankful context. Normally, you would think I would be like, thank you, sister. Without your help, I couldn't have found this job. But in this case, it's like, you wanted me to get a job. And I'm telling you now that I need to sleep for the job you got me. And you're asking, how's that your problem? My sister's behavior is absolutely out of control. I can't believe she's married. I can't believe he married her. I can't believe anyone put a ring on that. With the way her attitude is, the way she acts, I can't believe anyone went for her. And you know what else? So, the other night, after dinner with those two guests over, so I just went with the rest of my night as normal. After dinner, I clean up and I start getting ready to do the dishes, wash the dishes, clean up. My uncle is just like, wow, you're very busy these days. You're very busy right now. You gotta work in the morning, you clean up, you wash the dishes, you cook dinner. Wow, you're busy these days. My sister, she herself just butted into the conversation and chimed in, just threw in a little bit of participation. And what she said was, 30 years, I've still never watched a single plate. 30 years, my sister has never watched a single dish. And then my mom chimes in. She's just like, you know, talking to my uncle. My mom saying this. She's just like, you know, my daughter's husband's brother just got married. And during dinner, after dinner, she puts on gloves. She gets ready to do the dishes. My daughter, however, she very excitedly goes over, puts down her dinner bowl, and is just like, thank you, and runs off. No helping clean up whatsoever. My mom also added the fact that, how can she even help, even if she wanted to? She has fingernails. She gets her nails done all the time. She can't wash dishes with her nails. So my mom was also like, you know, when I had staff in the past, when I had young women as workers, as staff in the past, and they had nails, my mom would scold them, being like, how can you work if you have fingernails? You can't use the small screwdrivers, you can't do this, you can't do that. Why would you have fingernails to work when you can't do your job if you have fingernails? So my mom would scold them. That's what she said. And I kid you not, literally the next day, into the workday, my sister left to get her nails done. What the fuck? What kind of bullshit? Literally the night before, my mom mentioned how she doesn't like people working, especially for her, having fingernails, because if you have fingernails, you can't do the job. You can't do things. It gets in the way. And then literally, the next day after my mom saying that, my sister leaves abruptly during work to get her fingernails done. You know what the bullshit part of it is, too? The fact that I technically paid for it. So, something my mom wanted me to do, because we don't have a lot of money these days. So, she asked me to go to the bank and take out $1,000. Why? To give to my uncle to use for his trip right now. Here, he has a kid. We know how kids are. They point, they want, parent buys. So, to make sure that they have a good time over here, a good-ass time over here, they need money. So, my mom wanted to make sure of that. So, because we don't have a lot of money right now, she asked me to go to the bank, take out $1,000 from my account, and give it to my uncle. Be like, here, uncle. She wanted me to say this. Here, uncle, I have a job now. I purposely took out $1,000 just for you. Just for you to freely spend, because you're on a trip. Enjoy yourself. Go crazy. Of course, being as modest as they are, he was just like, no, it's fine, you don't have to. I already have my own money to spend on this trip. And to try to get him to accept it, I'm just like, well, I already took it out of the bank. You know, I'm not going to carry around $1,000 in my wallet everywhere. Please take it. So he took it. At first, I was thinking, I'm not getting that $1,000 back. But he actually did hand it back to me later on. And, well, I didn't have time to go back to the bank and put it back in. So I left it on my sister's table, because don't forget, they took over my room. I couldn't put it in my own room. I had to put it on my sister's table in her room. And my sister, having money signs in her eyes, she's just like, ooh, money! She took $100 from my stack of 1,000 to use to go and do her nails. Am I getting paid back? Absolutely not. This is my life. This is my life right now. A bitch-ass sister, an annoying cousin staying with me, an uncle who's relatively fine, and, you know, I lost access to my bedroom, I lost access to my bathroom, I have a new job I have to wake up early for. My life's a mess right now, so forgive me for my gaming schedule being in flux right now. But hey, you know, some good news. Like I said, the two of them are on a trip right now, so I temporarily have access back to my bedroom and bathroom. Now, I'm not gonna sleep on my mattress, because, what's the point, right? First, it's dirty. My uncle slept there. I ain't sleeping on there. Second, to change it, what's the point? They're gonna be back in less than a week. We're gonna change the sheets so I can sleep on it, just for not even a week later he comes back and we gotta change it again? What's the point? So, the mattress I sleep on my sister's floor, I moved that to my room. So, in literally my own bedroom, I'm sleeping on the floor. My little cuz also, he just does not leave our dogs alone. Now, I get it. Young child sees big poofy dog, wants to play with dog all the time. I get it. We all were like that. I know I was. As a young kid, when I saw a dog, I wanted to pet and play and do nothing else all day long. I get that. But, you know, my poor dogs just could not get a moment of peace with him around. He would actively get up and search the entire house for them. You know, they try to run away. They try to hide to avoid him, to get some peace and quiet. And he literally periodically gets up, runs around the house to search for them. And I'm just like, can you please leave them alone? You played with them all day. Can you please just leave them be for a little bit? They're tired of you. Well, I didn't say that last part. But, you know, they're tired. They want to sleep. Nice shiny. I'm working on it. I got a shiny Lopunny today, Batman. And also, I feel like he will level the house as if I were jumping. I feel like the earth shakes every time he runs around as if I was doing jump rope. Because we know how kids are. They run around, they stomp on the ground. The whole house shakes. I feel like the foundation for the house will collapse any moment. Especially going down the stairs. And I know I was like that too. When I was a kid and I came down the stairs, I basically stomped down every step. And now as an adult, I can see how annoying it is. And how concerning it could be too. Imagine being my dad, dealing with moi back then. Be like, oh my god, my son is going to cost so much to fix the house. You know, hilariously enough, that very thing did happen, only it wasn't me. It was my sister. My sister was one day coming down the stairs. I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. I guess she couldn't stop. When she reached the bottom of the stairs, she just kept on going, and she kneed the wall. And there was a big crack in the wall. Yeah, I don't know what happened, but that definitely happened. At one point in my family's history, my sister came down the stairs so hard, she couldn't stop. When she reached the bottom, she ran into the wall, collided with the wall, and she kneed the wall, leaving a crack on the drywall. Yeah, I don't know how that happens either. Kids, am I right? You know, my uncle gave my cousin a suggestion, and I'm just like, what the fuck are you saying? I didn't agree to this. So my cousin can absolutely see what a loser, I mean gamer, I am. I have tons of games around. And my uncle was suggesting, hey, why don't you ask your big fat cousin if you can borrow any of his games? I'm just like, I did not agree to this. Especially when my uncle said, how about you ask your big cousin if you can borrow some of his games when we go back home, and you'll give it back to him next time you see him. I'm just like, the hell? I didn't agree to this. And I kind of cannot say no, right? I kind of hope the two of them forget about that, because I really don't want to say no to them. So, if my cousin does borrow a handful of my games and goes back to Hong Kong, yeah, let's face it, I'm not getting those games back. At least not anytime soon. It'd be a waste of money to ship it back to me. And let's face it, I ain't going back to Hong Kong anytime soon. They're not coming over here again anytime soon. If my cousin borrows some of my games and goes back to Hong Kong, let's be honest, I'm not getting those games back. And he actually has his eyes on, I think, 2 or maybe 3 of my games, all of them being Zelda. He actually, while he's still here, he borrowed my Age of Calamity. I'm not necessarily playing that game right now. In fact, I already finished the game, so I don't mind that he's playing the game here now, but like, I don't know. I don't know if I really want him to borrow it and take it across the planet. Who knows when I'll get it back. And the other game he has in mind that he has his sights set on is my Skyward Sword HD. Now, I really don't know about that one. You guys know I love Skyward Sword. Hell, I might even want to replay it again lately. What? I may even want to replay it at some point soon. So like, ooh, I don't know if I want to let you borrow that one. I may have played the game 100 times. But damn it, I love that game, and I would not be mad at replaying it again. And if I want to replay it again, oh no, I can't, because my cartridge is halfway across the planet. Well, I shouldn't even say halfway. It is literally on the other side of the planet. Oh. You know, it's been a long-ass time since I did one of these shiny hunts and talked about shows. I have these shows lined up and ready to discuss. It's just I have so much other things to talk about that I actually don't have time to talk about the shows. We still have, of all things, the Ironheart finale to talk about. Nobody wants to hear me talk about that, but I still gotta. I talked about the first 5 episodes. I still have the Squid Game Season 3 finale to talk about. It's been like 2 weeks, I think. Probably. I still got the next episode of The Boys and Arcane to talk about. Oh, you know what? Speaking of The Boys, so we actually did get the full official trailer for Gen V Season 2. First thing I noticed was the person showing up in the trailer. I forget what his character's name was. But, you know, the Gen V Season 2 trailer, first person that shows up, it's the dog fucker. He didn't eat a dog, he ate out a dog. There's a difference. And I made a point to mention this character. Remember when and the only reason I know this is because I watched it recently. Remember the first episode of The Boys Season 4? They were looking up new candidates for the 7. And we saw this character show up before Sister Sage. Well, I made a point to bring up this character because this freaking actor shows up everywhere. Maybe not on the level of Pedro Pascal, but he shows up everywhere. Zach McGowan. This isn't even the first time I've seen him. He was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., he was in The Walking Dead, and now he's here. It's like, goddamn, this guy shows up everywhere. So I made it a point to mention him because of the freaking actor that shows up everywhere. Now, I don't know if his character shows up in Season 4 of The Boys, or if him showing up on the screen in The Boys Season 4 Episode 1 episode. What? I don't know if that was a tease for him showing up in Gen V, or if he actually shows up in Season 4 of The Boys. The Boys? But yeah, I don't know how many people actually piece that together. If he doesn't show up in The Boys Season 4, then there was literally one shot of him in the first episode of Season 4. I don't know how many people are gonna remember that. Like, hey, this guy who's showing up in Season 2 of Gen V, he showed up on a monitor screen in the first episode of The Boys Season 4. I don't know how many people are gonna piece that together. Someone like me, however, of course I was gonna notice. Especially because I just watched the Season 4 Episode 1. What? The Season 4 Episode 1. But yeah! There was also the fact that in the Gen V Season 2 trailer, we saw Starlight, we saw Annie actually showing up, so we know she's gonna show up in Season 2. We also heard some lines from The Deep. He's showing up in season 2 as well. Neat. Should I talk about Ironheart and Squid Game today? Just to get those done with. Because up next, I still have Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four to talk about. Plus the rest of The Boys Season 4 and Arcane Season 2. Also today, I think it was today, we got the official trailer for Eyes of Wakanda. That's coming out August 1st. And then, nearly 3 weeks later, Peacemaker Season 2 is premiering on August 21st. And not only that, there's even more. This past week, it was announced Daryl Dixon has been greenlit for Season 4, but Season 4 will be the final season. No! Once Daryl Dixon ends, that means the only show left will be Dead City. Daryl Dixon will be over. The Ones Who Live seems like it's a one and done, so that's over. The only show left for The Walking Dead anything is Dead City. Fear the Walking Dead is over. World Beyond was limited. Tales of the Walking Dead, that's in limbo. That's in production hell. We don't even know if we're getting more of that. But would that really be satisfying, though? Let's say Tales really does return. We would get Dead City and Tales of the Walking Dead, and that's it? So now people are saying Daryl Dixon ending is leading to something, possibly a reunion. Hopefully, it damn well better be a reunion. We haven't seen Rick and Daryl on screen together since 2018. Daryl Dixon Season 3 is coming out later this year. Let's assume Season 4, the final season, is coming out later next year. Unless they do a reunion, or even freaking tease Daryl and Carol going back to America, there's not going to be a reunion. So I'm really hoping we get a reunion. And, also, there's there's 3 options for how they could do a reunion. Like a big endgame style event where all the characters come together. I feel like there's 3 options. 3 easy options. Well, actually, I feel like one of them is easier than the others. Option 1. They could do, and I've been saying this since the show came, and it seems like it was a one and done. They could do a Season 2 of The Ones Who Live, where all of them get together. I feel like that would actually be pretty fitting. Season 2 of The Ones Who Live. Daryl, Carol, Maggie, and Negan all come together and reunite. Season 2 of The Ones Who Live. I feel like that just makes a lot of sense. If not, because I will acknowledge, if that is the case, that would mean you watch 2 entire spin-offs in between seasons. 2 entire spin-off shows in their entirety in between seasons. So, if that is to happen, you would watch The Ones Who Live Season 1. Daryl Dixon Seasons 1 to 4. Dead City Seasons 1 to, let's assume, 4 as well. And then you watch The Ones Who Live Season 2. That's kind of stupid, but in a way, I like it. So that's option 1. Option 2, The Walking Dead Season 12. It's that simple. Revive the show. But if that were the case, first of all, nobody's complaining. If that were the case, that'd be even worse. You would watch 11 seasons of The Walking Dead, watch 3 entire spin-off shows instead of 2. And then you watch season 12. That's even worse. You would watch seasons 1 to 11, 3 spin-off shows, and then watch season 12. Though I don't see anyone complaining about that, you know? So that's option 2. Option 3, a brand new spin-off. A brand new spin-off show that is all the characters reuniting. But at that point, why not just make it season 12? Because that's basically just season 12. I don't know. I don't know what the hell they're doing. They kind of shot themselves in the foot when they were planning these spin-offs. Don't forget, we're also missing Morgan. We're missing Madison and Alicia. We also want to see Morgan and Rick reunite. We want to see that just as much as Rick reuniting with Daryl. And can you imagine this? It's a bit of a shame that we did not get this. Kind of like how in Marvel we had our big 3. We had Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor. We had our big 3 from Marvel. We did also have our big 3 for The Walking Dead, but that ended long ago. Oh my god, that ended 9 years ago. We had Rick, Daryl, and Glenn. We had our big 3 in The Walking Dead, but Glenn died long ago. It's a shame that we never got a replacement big 3. Imagine this. Imagine this. Rick, Daryl, and Morgan. That would have been fire as fuck. Shit! I really wish we got that now. Daryl, Rick, and Morgan. Those 3 together leading the franchise. Unfortunately, that's not the timeline we live in, because Morgan went to Fear, Daryl got his spin-off, and Rick left the show. That's not the timeline we live in, unfortunately. We also unfortunately live in the timeline where Carl was killed off. Good job, Scott Gimple. Good job. Anyways, so yeah. Lots of stuff coming up. Lots of stuff. Daryl Dixon Season 3. Peacemaker Season 2. Eyes of Wakanda. Lots of stuff coming up. Lots of stuff. And that's not to mention the handful of shows I still have yet to watch. I haven't seen Sandman Season 2 yet. There's too many things to watch. There's only so many hours in a day. Whoops. Give me just a second, folks. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Ugh. I unfortunately don't think I have time to discuss any shows today. I could talk about Ironheart and Squid Game only, but I'm afraid I don't have enough time. I think I'll have to save those for next time. I have been putting off talking about Squid Game's finale for so long. I'm gonna talk about it though. I will. I swear. It's just life is going on, and there's a lot of other stuff for me to talk about too. Not just shows. There was also a lot of drama that happened since the last time I did this. Stuff like the CEO getting caught, and then another scandal happening from like the Coldplay concert. I don't even know who Coldplay is, if I'm gonna be honest. I don't really listen to any musical artists. You know, actually, recently in Toronto, there was a Blackpink concert. I saw everyone go. At that point, it was just me who didn't go. My sister went, my friend went, a bunch of people I knew from high school I saw went. It's like, I don't even know who Blackpink really is. You know? I know they're a K-pop band. I don't think I even know one song of theirs. Sorry, folks, I'm not really much of a music listener. I like music, of course. There's just no artists that I listen to regularly. And I don't go out of my way to find music to listen to. If I hear something and I like it, then I'll keep on listening to it. Like recently, I was on Instagram, and I saw this post that had a song. I had to look it up. It's an AI-generated song. What was it? I love big booty Latinas. You think I'm joking? Yeah, Big Booty Latinas official lyric video by Beats by AI. It's a country song style singing about big booty Latinas. Hey, let's be real, folks. Let's just be real for a second. We all love big booty Latinas. This song is actually pretty catchy. Who would have thought a country song about big booty Latinas would actually be pretty good? What else has happened lately? What other internet drama has happened lately? There are a handful of things I'm aware of, like the online censorship issue. I did see about that, and then also the game, the NSFW games on Steam. I did see about that as well. How those were being taken down. All right, last night when we went to see Fantastic Four, of course my cousin bought popcorn. I personally never buy anything from the theater. I don't buy drinks because I don't want to risk having to leave the movie to go use the bathroom. And also, I don't buy popcorn because I flat out just don't like popcorn. I don't like eating popcorn. I find that it gets stuck in my teeth all the time, so I just don't like eating it. I don't eat popcorn. So I never buy anything from theaters. When my cousin bought the popcorn, it was a big-ass popcorn bucket. My uncle and cousin were both shocked. They were surprised, like, wow! The popcorn portions over here are huge! Over at Hong Kong, if they were to buy a quote-unquote large bucket of popcorn, it would be like a quarter of the large popcorn buckets we have here. And you know, I'm just thinking, not only to them are the popcorn buckets bigger, the food portions over here are just bigger. And I'm just thinking to myself, why do you think people like me over here are considered fat Americans? Why do you think when I went over there, I was probably the thickest dude in the entire shopping mall? Hell, I had to wear their triple XL in order to fit. When over here, a large or a double XL would suffice for me, but nah, over there, I gotta wear a triple XL. You know, my cousin also doesn't particularly like wearing seat belts. You know how seat belts have two parts to it? There's the one that goes over your shoulder, down your entire torso on an angle, and then there's another one that goes around your waist. Well, he doesn't really like wearing seat belts. We know how kids are. Defiant little shits. He wears the bottom one around his waist just fine, but the one that goes over the torso, he lets that go behind him. So instead of being over his shoulder, it's literally behind him. So the only thing, if we ever have to stop abruptly, the only thing keeping him from flying is the seatbelt, the bottom half of the seatbelt on his waist. Well, he's gonna fuck around and find out one day. And you know something else I never considered? My uncle and cousin, they're not used to getting into hot cars. Let me explain. Over in Hong Kong, you don't really drive yourself. You more so go into taxis or go into subways. So when you're outdoors, let's say in the summer, the blistering summer heat, it's why I'll never go back in the summer. In the blistering summer heat, you call a taxi, you get into the car, the air conditioning's already on. So you get into the car, it's already nice and cold inside. Because the car has already been started up. Over here, during the summer, your car stays outdoors and it's not on the entire day. You leave the house, you get into the car, it is baking in there. You need to turn on the AC and wait for it to cool down inside. So over here in the summer heat, you get into a hot car. They don't really do that over there because they don't really have their own cars to drive for the most part. They get into taxis, which has already had the AC on. They're not used to getting into hot cars. Ain't that crazy? Just small little details like that that just show the difference between the different sides of the world. Well, I'm out of things to talk about. Unless I think of something else, I'm gonna watch some videos on the side. Peace out, y'all. My god, I got a Miley Cyrus ad? What the hell happened to her? What happened to her eyebrows? Whoops. By the way, I am still on the side shiny hunting in Diamond for a Graveler. Hopefully a Graveler. I have been running back and forth here for weeks. Has it been weeks? Yeah. I've been running back and forth here at Victory Road, hoping to get a shiny Graveler. And nothing. Well, it's okay. That's shiny hunting at full odds. You know, tonight I can finally get a good night's sleep. My cousin and uncle aren't here for the next couple days. My sister, well, she's not coming home tonight. And tonight, I get to sleep in my own room again. Albeit on the floor, but still, it is my own room. You guys want to know something else that was unfortunate about today? Aside from the fact that today was a pretty bad day, I had to wake up early to drive those two to the Tim Hortons to get picked up by the bus. My sister didn't come to work today, abruptly. And also today in Pokemon Go, aside from getting that shiny Lopunny today was actually pretty bad. First of all, I was hoping that I would be able to do at least one more Lunala raid today. The past week, Lunala was in raids for the first time. I was hoping to do at least 2. I only did one. I had an entire week, and I only did one when I needed minimum 2. Why 2? It's so that I can send one to Pokemon Home to get it registered, and then have another in Pokemon Go to fuse to my Necrozma, thus finally completing the special field research to fuse a Necrozma. However, this entire time that Lunala was in raids, I only did one. Why? Well, you have to keep in mind, I was at a new job. And by the time I was done my new job, well, I just went home. Or I had to hang out with my cousin and uncle. And whenever one did spawn, it wasn't spawning at a convenient time or location. The only one I did, I had to actually go pretty out of the way to do it in person. But you could have just used remote raids. I didn't want to pay for that, especially because it can't even be shiny. And I had a whole week. I was hoping that I would have time to do at least 2, but I only did 1. Today I was hoping that I could do 1 more, but for some reason, it changed today. The raid schedule changed today. If you look up, well, you guys in the future, if you look up the schedule for July 2025, the itinerary for this month, Lunala began in raids July 22nd, but then it said Verizon would swap into 5-star raids on July 30th. So I feel like it would make sense. Seeing the way that is, you would assume Lunala would be in raids 22nd to maybe 29th. And then Verizon would take over on July 30th. However, today is 28th. Why is Lunala gone and Verizon is now in raids? The schedule clearly said Verizon would start in raids July 30th. Today is 28. Before you say time zones, somewhere out there in the world it's the 30th. But like, is that really the case? Somewhere out there is 2 days ahead, not just 1? During daytime, the afternoon of the 28th, you're telling me somewhere else out there in the world it's already the 30th? Man, that's some bullshit right there. Well, I guess I'll just have to patiently wait for Lunala to come back in raids. It will come back one day, because, you know, they do need to release the shiny at some point. Wow, a shiny? Isn't that crazy? I didn't reset over it, did I? Did I? Well, I can't go back. Whoops. We're almost done anyways. well, that's all I'm gonna do for tonight. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time for more Regigigas hunting. Alright, bye now.